My name is Dahlia Hart, and I am 22 years old, living in picturesque Maplewood, Wisconsin, a small town where life is as calm as a gently flowing river. Typically, one would think of me as just another girl, but I am anything but ordinary. Over the past year, I have built a career for myself driving tractor trailers, a profession not often chosen by women. People often say that the world of trucking is rough and ready, just like me. I enjoy spending my days on the open road and my evenings in the warehouse, lifting and pulling boxes that range in size from minuscule to those that weigh as much as a small car. There is something empowering about being in control of such a massive vehicle, navigating highways and byways like a master artist, painting a canvas with strokes of steel and rubber. My workday often includes chatting with my two coworkers, a supervisor, and a forklift operator, during the sporadic moments when we are not bombarded with tasks. These brief exchanges create bonds that weave together our routines, allowing us to share bits of our lives, including our thoughts on movies and horror stories that keep us awake at night. Fridays have a sort of mythical allure in the air, as if everyone knows the weekend is just within reach. One particular Friday, the moment my supervisor left for the day, the atmosphere became relaxed, and I found myself chatting with JC, the jerk coworker, about the latest zombie flicks. I had always been interested in survivalism and prepping for disasters, a hobby that led to endless hours spent reading and watching movies that would give me the best strategies for battling the undead, silly in some ways, but entertaining nonetheless. As we spoke, a specific movie came to mind that struck me as particularly thrilling, yet, for the life of me, I could not remember its title. I turned to him, asking for help, and our conversation flowed comfortably as he promised to look it up when I remembered. It was a light-hearted moment, adding to the enjoyment of an otherwise routine day, and when the weekend rolled around, I remembered the title, eagerly sending him a text message. However, what should have been a harmless exchange spiraled into chaos when I arrived at work the following Monday. As I was discussing the day's tasks with my supervisor, JC stormed into the office like a tornado ripping through a small town. I felt my heart drop into my stomach as he unleashed his fury at me, ranting that I had ruined his life because of our text conversation. I stood there, completely stunned, unable to comprehend the things he was saying. What on earth was happening? It didn't make sense. Immediately, he launched into accusations about how I had disrespected his boundaries and how I should not be contacting him outside of work. While there was a hint of truth in his claims, there had been only 6 texts exchanged since we began working together. There had never been a problem with it before, and it had always seemed harmless. Little did I know, his hyper-jealous and insecure wife had seen our text and seemingly turned it into a scandal, leading her to storm out of their home. All of this would culminate in an explosion right in front of me, a direct consequence of my innocent conversation about a zombie movie. The onslaught continued, and I quietly left the office, my emotions swirling in my head like a tornado of confusion and guilt. Later that day, my supervisor called me back to explain what happened. I learned that because of his aggressive behavior, JC had been sent home, and she assured me that I was in no way responsible for his chaotic situation. My heart ached, torn by conflicting feelings of empathy and anger. Surely, his wife's decisions spoke to deeper issues within their relationship. I didn't want to believe my innocent text could provoke such monumental fallout. Days passed, and I stuck to my supervisor's advice to maintain a professional distance from JC, keeping our interactions strictly work-related, just as he requested. My supervisor took on the same rule, engaging with him only as necessary, limiting all communication to work matters. And when the following day came, I made the decision to take it off to let the dust settle. It felt like I was retreating to recover from a battle I had not asked to fight. Upon my return to work, I was eagerly awaiting updates on how things had progressed without me. My supervisor filled me in on everything that had happened during my absence. Apparently, JC had been at work with my supervisor and manager, and instead of maintaining the hostility he had displayed towards me, they were engaging normally, discussing work as if the outburst had never occurred. But here comes the twist. In less than 5 hours on the job, JC handed in his keys and quit. It seemed he could not handle the weight of the atmosphere he had created. The dark cloud of tension dissipated like mist in the morning sunlight. As the dust finally settled, I felt a surge of relief. For me, this was a moment of poetic justice. Now, as I stand here reflecting on those events, I know that sometimes people bring their own chaos into the world, and while I hadn't wished for any of it, I had unknowingly contributed to the end of JC's turbulent chapter. He wanted to keep his life separate from work, and perhaps in a fit of ironic justice, that is exactly what he got. The manager and supervisor still kept their doors open for him should he ever decide to return, but I, along with my newfound sense of freedom, felt empowered knowing that I was not responsible for his choices. I had been given new space and opportunities by my surrounding support, transforming what could have been a painful memory into a lesson learned. So, I close this chapter with the exhilaration of knowing that sometimes the tables turn.